At some point, most people go through a period of time when they have made that decision. They've decided that they want to fix up their lawn for the first time ever. This usually happens in spring, but that's not universal. You can literally fix up a lawn at any point during the year, even winter. Right now I'm recording this, it's the middle of winter. What most people don't realize, though, is that when we start talking about fixing up the grass is not the most important part of a lawn. It's not really best to focus on the grass when you're just getting started because the grass grows from roots, and those roots are underground. The roots are the foundation of your lawn. The care of them needs to supersede the care of the grass sitting on top, the stuff that we see. Now, furthermore, the roots are also not really the most important part of your lawn either, because a root with a plant growing on it is going to die if it's not in soil. If there's no soil, then the grass and its root system dies off. And if it's in really bad soil, then it might not die off, but it sure isn't going to thrive. It will struggle. Now, if you want to have like a magazine quality lawn, like a perfect lawn, then you're going to have to put a lot of time and money into the process, constantly manicuring it with specialty products and hand selecting the exact right cultivar or grass types for your exact climates and your own preferences. Do you want it tall? Do you want it short? Do you want it to self-repair? Do you want to have to overseed? Do you want to overseed? Perfect lawns take a lot of effort. To have a good lawn, however, it's easy. All you got to do is focus on improving the soil that your grass is growing in. That's pretty much it. That's it. Possibly add a little bit better grass seed to the thin areas. So if you're starting with thin areas, those spots might need some grass seed. But depending on what grass type you have, you might not even need to put seed in. It might just fill in on its own. A while back, I actually put together kind of like a digital book, so to speak, all about what to do and what you need to know as a beginner to lawn care. It's got like everything in it, including video. So you read and watch videos, complimentary, covers everything. You can find a link to that down in the description below. But first, let me summarize it for you real quick. Every lawn needs water. Everyone knows that. But what most people do is they put on too little water too often. You literally need to give your lawn a much bigger drink than you normally give it, but not as often. So if you're watering every other day, maybe 3 times a week, dial it back. Shoot for 1 time a week, maybe 2 if it gets super hot, but make sure to give it a lot more water every time you do it. The reason for that is the water goes deeper into the soil profile where all of those roots exist. We want those roots to always be hydrated, but we don't want those plants to be trying to find that water up at the soil surface. We want it finding that water deep down, even between irrigation sessions. This deeper water doesn't just help the grass, but it also helps all of the little beneficial microorganisms that live in the dirt. The more of these teeny tiny bugs are in your dirt, the healthier your grass is actually going to be. Might seem kind of creepy to actually want all this stuff growing in your grass, but when we have a lot and a diverse mixture of microorganisms in the soil, those things actually will take plant unavailable nutrients that are already in your soil and convert them into plant usable or plant available nutrients, both macronutrients and micronutrients. Essentially, all those little bugs produce or find all of the nutrients in the soil that your grass needs, so you don't have to fertilize it as often. Now, also, in addition to getting regular deep water on the lawn, we can further support the development of healthy soil bacteria and beneficial fungi living in the lawn by not using chemicals, or at least using as few as possible. If we rarely, if ever, apply lawn chemicals to the lawn, pesticides to the lawn, fungicides to the lawn, then your soil is literally just going to get healthier and healthier and healthier over time. Even switching from synthetic fertilizers, which are cheap, I'll give you that, you switch over to organic fertilizers, that's also going to increase the population of beneficial insects and protozoa while simultaneously increasing the CEC of your soil. That's its ability to retain nutrients and water. In layman's terms, synthetic fertilizers contain a lot of salts. There's nothing organic about them. Keeping that stuff out of your lawn for a considerable amount of time is going to make a big difference in increasing the health of the soil that your grass grows in. I'd also like to say that all of these critters that live in the lawn, that we want in the lawn, they all need to breathe, just like me and you. So it's super duper important to aerate your lawn occasionally. You don't really have to do this more than once a year, although I do recommend doing it twice if you can, but it's so worth it. All of those things need air. Give it to them. Just like it's harder for you to go for a jog at 10,000 feet, it's also harder for them to do their work underground when they don't have enough oxygen. If you were to commit this year to watering your lawn deeper and less frequently, not using chemicals, not using pesticides, not using fungicides, aerating occasionally, only fertilizing with naturally sourced ingredients, top dressing the lawn occasionally with soil amendments, and mowing tall 2 times every week. That's right, 2 times. If you do all of that, your grass is going to thrive. Your lawn will look way better. But then what about the weeds? Well, incrementally over time, by mowing regularly, you're going to be yanking off all of those flower and seed heads. You're going to be encouraging your grass to thicken up and spread laterally. It's going to close in those dirt spots and crowd out the weeds. Over time, weed pressure will decline. And I would also encourage you to do a little bit of hand pulling. I rarely step out into my lawn for more than about 5 minutes at a time to hand pull weeds. But most weeks, I'm out here at some point doing just that. Even if you only do it a little bit, there's some satisfaction in seeing instant gratification. Yank a weed out of the ground and it's gone forever. Remember, you are not expected to have a magazine cover lawn with only a couple months worth of work. This is a gradual process. It's incremental, it's sustainable, and it's totally worth it. So beyond everything that I've said right here, I go into extreme detail on these topics and more in my Beginners to Lawn Care resource that I mentioned earlier in this video. As I said, I'm going to link to it from the description below, but also up here in this QR code for all of you TV viewers out there who don't have a description to look at. I've also decided that viewers of this video should have access to that resource for 25% off. If you want to buy it, make sure to use the code TM25OFF and the price will come down accordingly. But wait, there's more. Anyone that takes advantage of this offer is also going to get access to my premium root development strategy. It's basically a deep dive, again, text supplemented with video. It's a deep dive into pushing deeper and more substantial root systems in your lawn, healthier roots, so that your lawn can be more resilient throughout the course of the year. Honestly, I'd probably wager that by itself makes this whole thing worth it, but you get it with this fundamentals course. Lastly, for those of you who don't want to pull your wallet out right now, I got you covered too. Mechanical core aeration, as I mentioned before, is one of the most important things that you could possibly do for your lawn for the health of the soil. I recommend aerating your lawn 2 times a year. The first time is going to be right at the very start of your spring. We're not talking March 20th or March 21st here. When your area starts waking up for spring, whether it's in April, March, February, or whenever, just before your spring starts, aerate the lawn. And then if you can, I would recommend aerating your lawn a second time around the end of August. That second time isn't nearly as important as the first one. During the springtime, all grass types put on a huge amount of root mass because they shed roots over the winter. If we can aerate the lawn going into that natural root mass development push, then we're going to get better rooting, more rooting, deeper rooting. And I'm tempted to say the word rooting again, but I won't. We want that because the more roots that we have going into the season, the healthier our lawns will be throughout the season, regardless of the pressures and stresses that are put on it. This video right here on the screen is my gigantic masterclass on aeration. Please give it a long look and make sure to let me know what you think in the comments of that video. Drop any questions there if you have any as well.